how can we build a healthy relationship with ourselves after a difficult time like a breakup? And this is especially if you are someone who recognizes herself as anxiously attached, like I did. I think from my personal experience, I could say that the first thing is to really try to be kind to yourself. And this is important for women who have an anxious attachment style. And the reason is because we are so hard on ourselves, especially when it comes to taking responsibility of situations. For example, the end of a relationship. It's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking that a relationship ended because we did something wrong. We try to put all the responsibility on our shoulders, and we try to beat and we constantly beat ourselves up for this failure. We think that there's something wrong with us. We think that it has to be something wrong that we did, that if only we could get a second chance to go back and fix things, or if we just could try to be a certain way to please this person and to convince him that we are worth spending time with, that we are worth being in a relationship with. So I found that over the years, I am more kind towards people that I love in my life than I am to myself. One of the simplest ways to recognize or to become more aware of your relationship with yourself is to be aware and to observe the inner conversation that you have with yourself on a daily basis. When I reflect back on how this conversation was years ago, I could tell you beyond shadow of a doubt that it was very, very, very toxic. I used to talk down to myself. I beat myself up. I called myself names. I did not have any kind of appreciation or respect for myself. I talk to it like I've never talked to anyone in my entire life. Of course, that inner conversation fed into unhealthy actions, things that did not serve me, relationships that I got myself into that were not adding value to my life. It was a cycle that started with the inner dialogue that I had with myself, but it also extended to other things like the actions that I did on a daily basis, the relationships that I had with people. So it fed into each other. Another way to start having this healthy relationship with ourselves, especially after a breakup, is to give ourselves the respect, the love, the appreciation, the support that we seek to get, especially from a romantic relationship. We all know that being thirsty, that being needy is not attractive. It's not attractive to be with someone who is waiting for you to make them feel good about themselves, about their lives. We want to be around people who add value. We want to be around people who are happy, who are fulfilled, who have a rich life that really makes them feel fulfilled without the need of us or our presence to make them feel happy, because this is such a big responsibility. So before we try to wait for someone else to give us all of these things, how about we try to give it to ourselves first? And I know that if you have been, like I was, someone who used to have an unhealthy relationship with herself, I know that this might not come, it's not easy when you're first starting on this path, but over time and one step at a time, it becomes easy. It becomes a new norm. It becomes a new identity that you have for yourself, that you are someone who respects, appreciates, and loves herself and is kind to herself enough to meet her own needs before waiting for someone else to reciprocate this in a relationship. The third thing that I would recommend in order to have a healthy and a great relationship with ourselves is to start to read more about healthy relationship patterns, especially if you are someone who recognizes herself to have a history of being in toxic relationships or being in unhealthy relationships. For us to be able to recognize the green flags, what does a healthy relationship look like? What does a healthy person's presence in your life looks like? It's really important to familiarize ourselves with these patterns, to be able to recognize these behaviors when we see it from other people, and to be able to do this first with ourselves. The reason I think this is important is because if you happen to be someone who were around toxic people or in unhealthy relationships in the past, it is easy to have our perceptions led because of being around those people long enough. We think that, well, this is the normal, this is what other people have behind closed doors, but no one chooses to speak about this. We think that great, fantastic relationships don't exist. We think that old people suffer. We think that all couples are not satisfied. We think that most people are not happy with themselves. And so we start to accept, justify the behaviors, first from ourselves, and then second from our partners. Number four is to develop our self esteem and our self worth, to start feeling good about ourselves without waiting for someone else, especially for a guy, to make us feel good about ourselves. This is really important. And the cliche is to keep your cup full. It's so true. And the reason is because even if you happen to find someone who's a fantastic human being, fantastic partner, now, if you don't feel this way about yourself to begin with, you are going to find ways to sabotage the relationship, because inside you are going to think that you're not worthy of having this great partner, this great guy in your life. So you are going to find ways to get the relationship to a place where it ends, because there's a conflict between what you are getting from the outside, meaning this person's appreciation, support, and all the great love that he offers you, but at the same time, on the inside, you think that you're not worthy of this great relationship. You think that it's just a matter of time until he finds out who you truly are, and then he's going to leave you. So there's going to be that conflict that gets us to a place where we constantly feel anxiety, we feel fear, we anticipate when the relationship is going to end, when is he going to leave me, and we become clingy, we become needy, we are constantly waiting for reassurance, we are waiting for validation, which means that it's just a matter of time before this guy realizes that, well, this is not the right place for me to be, and then he leaves. And I talked in a previous video about how you can develop this self-worth and self-esteem by doing the inner work and the external work as well. Inner work could be things that get you aligned internally, that help you to recognize the insecurities and the unhealthy patterns, past traumas or past insecurities that you have experienced in your life, especially during childhood. Getting yourself to a place where you're able to face these insecurities and to work through them one at a time until you get to a place where you are able to accept yourself unconditionally, where you are, you know exactly your insecurities and you work on them to heal, to grow, while at the same time doing things externally that feed us, that make us feel good about ourselves, whether it's a new professional opportunity, developing a new passion, a new activity, spending time around people that we love, that we care about, who support us. Probably the last thing that I would say is to find a way to reframe the way we think and feel about rejection. Because women who have an anxious attachment style, their biggest fear is that they are going to be abandoned and they're going to be rejected. We are scared from this more than anything else in life, because it makes us feel inferior, it makes us feel unlovable, it makes us feel not enough. So we tend to question ourselves every single time we get rejected, especially in the context of romantic relationships, because this is the area where we have most insecurity. Even if we are successful in our professional life, when it comes to romantic relationships, this is the area that brings most of our fears, of our insecurities. So the way I see rejection is that you have to be able to reject something to be able to accept something else. Every time we say yes to something or someone, we say no to something or someone else. If we have this right, then we must be able to give this right to other people as well. This means that if we happen to be with someone who, even if this person is a great guy, right? There is no compatibility, there is no chemistry, there is no future for our relationship. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It just means that we are together. We're not a good team. We don't fit we are not aligned on the journey that we want to start together and spend for the rest, hopefully for the rest of our lives. So when we're able to see that rejection does not equate us not being enough or us not being lovable, it's just a choice. You know, we get to choose who is appropriate for us, who is the right person for us, and we have to be able to give this right to other people as well. This means that the end of the relationship, a breakup, does not mean that you're a failure. It only means that you are not a good fit for this person. Maybe you met in the wrong time. Maybe you have different needs. Maybe you are in different chapters of your life where what you want is not compatible with what he wants. Maybe you have conflicting attachment styles, like someone who's avoidant and with someone who is attached. This means that the two of you bring the worst in each other. There are so many reasons, so many scenarios why a relationship comes to an end, other than us being faulty, being not enough, or being not lovable. The last thing I want to say is that having or building this healthy relationship with ourselves is not just something that happens once. It is a journey. It is something that we constantly work on day in and day out of our lives. It's a journey that never comes to an end, because no matter how great we become, there's always something to work on. There's always something to discover about ourselves, and there's always something to grow out of. Not necessarily, I don't like to use the word improve, but I like to use the word grow, because I think that growth, it's it's a far more positive meaning. You know, there's progress with it. There is a sense of maturity. There's a sense of security that comes with this. And this process takes time, and that's okay. It's a process that could bring so much fulfillment and so much joy to our hearts when we enjoy becoming aware of patterns. It's a journey of self exploration. It's becoming our best friends. It's getting to know ourselves more than anyone else could know us in this lifetime. I hope that you found this video helpful. Subscribe and maybe leave me a comment about any topic that you'd like me to create a video about. If you have any questions, especially about getting over a breakup for women with an anxious attachment style, and I'll catch you up in our next video. Bye.